Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for today's webinar. I'm really excited to talk about why flexibility training improves strength and more. That is the title of today's webinar. My goal is to just keep you here for about 30 minutes. And of course, this webinar is being recorded, so you will get the recording if you're attending live. And of course, those of you who responded to me that you wanted the recording, thank you so much. Yes, 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 yes. So before we get going, my name is Liz Philippone, and I help women and men, basically over the age of 40. That's my target right there, who are experiencing physical discomfort in their movement. And I help them improve their range of motion, gain strength, and build confidence through a pain-free exercise program. I have about 20 years of experience teaching and training many individuals in various exercise and movement practices. And some of those are through yoga, bar training, which is, if you don't know what bar training is, it's dance-inspired exercise. Of course, it's not dance per se, but it's just movements from ballet that really do help strengthen the body. And of course, total body strength conditioning. I'm also a certified personal trainer, yoga teacher, and I specialize in corrective exercise and women's fitness. I know that was a big mouthful, but if you don't know much about me in that sense, there you go. Yeah, so I am going to bring up my slides. And we're going to get going because, like I said, 30 minutes. Let's do this. And if you are watching the recording, please type. Actually, you don't need to type it. You know what? That's just something I say all the time, especially if you are watching this on social media. This is also going to be put on my YouTube page, which I'm really excited about as well. So here we go. All right. Can you see that? Give me a thumbs up. All right. And I am going to make that bigger. Perfect. Nice and big. So I'm going to go right into the what's, right? What is flexibility training? Have we really thought about this, what it really is? And so this definition is from the National Academy of Sports Medicine, which is where I got my certification in personal training, as well as group fitness. Flexibility refers to the ability of the muscles and connective tissues to function optimally so that a joint may reach its full range of motion. I know that's a very techie term, but what that basically means is it's your muscles and the tissue, the connective tissue. Connective tissue, I want you to think of that as saran wrap, plastic wrap that protects all your muscles, even your organs. So it refers to those two things, muscles and connective tissue, so that they can lengthen, right, to its fullest range of motion. And of course, what is strength training? You probably know what it means, right? And Liz, you are in this photo. Liz, who is on live with me right now, she's being debuted right now on one of my slides. So what is strength training? Again, from National Academy of Sports Medicine, defines strength as the ability of the neuromuscular system to produce internal tension. So in the muscles and connective tissue that pulls on the bones to overcome an external force or external overload. So it's your internal system creating tension when an external force or load hits the body. That's just kind of like a little summary of that definition. And then I found another definition, which was a little bit more simple. I like to pick a variety of different definitions because some of them, just speak to us better than others. So the other one was the use of resistance to muscular contraction to build strength, anaerobic endurance, and size of skeletal muscle. So basically, in a nutshell, building strength from within and out, endurance, right, which is the length of time you can do something, the length of time of doing a task, right? And that can mean anything. Walking, it can mean gardening, it can mean, you know, how many reps of this exercise can you do for this amount of time? And how many times? And then, of course, if you're trying to grow muscle, right? That's what that is referring to there. All right. And I'm just going to move this around. Okay, so I'm just going to quick check here of the basic movements of functional training. And these lists that I am sharing, you do every day. Okay, it's every day. We lunge, we squat, we reach for things, we lift things, we jump. Maybe we don't jump, but you're I want to say, excuse me, maybe you're under 40 and you jump a little, right? You see your kids jump, pushing, pulling, rotation, which is twisting the body, and walking. Okay, these are all of these, but it's functional training. It applies to all activities of daily living and all planes of motion, forward, back, side to side, and of course, rotationally, right? That is what our body's planes of motion are. And we do this on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, not knowing, you know, unintentionally and intentionally. And this next slide, I'm going to give you some examples. So this is a pushing exercise. It's a bench press, working the chest. And you're bench pressing with dumbbells here. As you can see on a bench, you can, of course, do this on the floor, but anything pushing, right? That's just a, you know, example of pushing. Sometimes I think of planks as pushing because in a way, even though it's a static hold, an isometric hold, you have to kind of push the floor away to engage all your muscles, the core, the arms, the chest, even the legs. And then there's pulling, right? So pulling, this is a reverse dumbbell fly. So where you're pulling outwards, you're bent over, you're pulling. And the muscles that are pulling here are your back muscles, very important. Upper back, even lower back muscles are supporting this movement. And then, of course, over here, this is a row with the suspension trainer. That's usually the beginning, right? Before you pull your elbows back, you're pulling your body here. You're using your back to pull. And then, of course, with regular activity, pulling weeds, right? If you can even bring this position into it, you get down lower, you're pulling, right? And then the old days, I like to say old days because I don't know if people still have this lawnmower anymore, the one that you pull with the chain, right? That is the same exercise, same movement, functional movement. And then there's squat and lunge. This is the basic squat right here. So basic squatting, we squat all day long. We sit to stand from a chair. We sit down from standing, getting into a car. The other day, bending down to pick up something, bending down to in the garden, right? How many times have you done that in the garden? Squatting it's all the time, right? It's all the time, all day long. And then, of course, over here is the lunge. And of course, there's a variety of lunges. You got your front, you got your reverse, you got your side, you got your diagonal, you got all planes of motion with lunging as well. And if we could move more in that functional way, you know, I always say like, if we could practice these particular movements more, especially with lunging, we could reduce a lot of injury in the body, right? So those are examples of squat, lunge. And then of course, reaching. This is like an overhead press or a reach, right? Where you're actually reaching overhead. Of course, there's a lot of different examples of reaching. It's not just overhead, right? It's forward, it's down. You're reaching down for something. You're reaching over something, right? That's another functional movement. Okay, so any questions so far? No? Okay. So why flexibility training? Why is this going to help strength training, right? Whether you do strength training, because I'm not just talking about strength training, I'm just talking about overall strength in the body and with what you're doing every day. Okay. Workouts are not even in your workouts, daily activity. But why flexibility training? And I bolded some of these, right? Only a couple of them, but better range of motion, right? I talked about, the flexibility. What is flexibility definition, right? It's when your whole joint moves in that full range of motion. So this is going to prevent injury. It's going to increase flexibility in the joints, obviously, increase blood flow, which increases or boosts recovery time from anything you do. It doesn't have to be just from exercise, it can be from other activities. Relieves stress, which is a huge one, reduces back pain, improves posture, and allows for deeper movements while building strength and stability. And I wrote that little question down there, like, what other one would you bold? Anybody want to share? What other one would you bold? I probably would bold the stress one. But is there another one on that list that you would put in a bold? Like what, of course, all of them could be bolded, but allowing it for deeper movement. So that's why it's so important, right? For flexibility. So I'm going to just give an example again, now going into more of a strength training space. All right. You're at the gym or at home or at a class, right? Being able to be flexible in your squats, right? To get lower in your squats is going to build more strength in your muscle. It is in a sense, the deeper you can go in your squat, it's going to increase not just the strength part and the stability part, but while you're loading, right? While you're loading maybe with one dumbbell or two dumbbells, that load and that force it's going to build that strength for when you maybe have to go deeper in a squat or any other position at home, picking something up, getting into the garden more, right? I'm trying to think of other examples with regular activity, but for the most part, it's going to help you go deeper. Yeah. Does that make sense? Oop. And then, so why do strength training? And I think these two go hand in hand, right? The more strength you build in your muscles, the better flexibility you're going to have. And then the better flexibility you have, the stronger you can get, right? There's no like one stands alone. And that's really what I'm getting at here is that I find, and that's the reason why I did this webinar, because when I talk to people and they're, oh yeah, I lift weights, I do this and da da da. And I go, oh, and like, and you stretch, right? And they're like, oh yeah, they might stretch a little bit after the session or after the class. I go, yeah, but what about your other days when you're not lifting, when you're not doing something? Do you stretch? And most of the time, no. Some go to yoga. I'm not saying that all of them, but for the most part, it's not a lot. And if you really want to stay stronger and more limber, you have to do both, right? And especially as we get older, we need more flexibility training. I know I say strength train, get stronger, da, 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 but don't forget about that flexibility piece. Don't forget about the stretch. That's very key. And I know it can seem like a lot, but honestly, a little goes a long way. It really does. A little bit of stretching daily really goes a long way. So, why do strength training? It's going to decrease muscle loss and strength. That's huge. Number one, it's going to decrease falls. We're in Fall Prevention Awareness Month right now as I'm doing this webinar. So that's huge. It does. It decreases falls. The more strength you have in your body, the quicker, the more resilient you're going to be, maybe catching yourself falling or bouncing back after a fall. That is going to really boost so much strength in your body, right? And even mentally too. I feel it's a mental thing as well. It supports your skeletal system, your joints, right? As we get older, our joints get older. Everything gets older as we age, right? It doesn't mean that we're like, our bodies might be old, we might be more young up here, right? We're more like, yeah, there's still stuff I want to do, right? But our bodies are older. So we may just have to, we have to tend to them a little bit differently and more. Maintains flexibility and balance, moving joints through full ranges of motion. I know that comes up a lot, but it's huge. It keeps coming up that we want to be able to move our joints in its full range of motion. And that's what strength training will do. It's going to help with that flexibility and the balance. It helps maintain a healthy weight. So many studies are out there. And I hate to say it, but I'm just, because I've been doing my research, but a lot of it has been mostly, the majority has been done with men, not so much with women. It's a little tougher just because with menopause and different hormonal stuff, like it's hard to do certain studies with women. It doesn't mean that women aren't strong or anything like that. But there have been studies that it does help maintain a healthy weight. When you add strength training to your routine 2 times a week, spread it out, vary it up, it's going to help maintain, your weight loss goal. You hit your weight loss goal. It's going to help maintain that and just so many other things besides just your weight. It's going to help so many other things, hormone balances, not just in women, but in men too. That could be a whole other webinar. And then of course it assists in fat loss, right? With a healthy diet, right? As long as you're maintaining a healthy diet, right? I always go the 80-20 rule, right? You got to leave some room for fun in there. If you can do 80-20 rule, you're good, right? You can have some fat loss, right? It's so good for blood sugar. Again, I can go into it again. I could go to a different webinar with that one. And then of course, just think to yourself, what other ones would you bold here on this list? I mean, I should have just bolded all of them, but I definitely like the first one. I should have just bolded the first one, right? Decrease muscle loss and strength. That's huge as we get older. And I definitely have noticed since I have picked up weight training again pretty consistently, what a difference, right? I wasn't lifting weights there for a while because of a back issue I had. Now that I have got that addressed, and I can load again, and I'm just being very conservative now when I load my weights and things that I do, I have noticed my strength is coming back. I can feel it in my body. I really can. I can feel it in my body. And yeah, so it can boost your mood for sure. So, what can I do next? Practice stretching daily in less than 5 minutes, or if you have more time, stretch a little bit more. But you can do a few stretches. It doesn't have to be a whole hour of stretching, right? Add some stretches. Maybe from a class you took. I know there's stretches, you can find on YouTube and things like that. I have a whole video library, on-demand library of different stretch routines. It's not all yoga for you non-yogis out there. It can be just a stretch practice. where you just dedicate some time after a warm up, right? We don't want to stretch cold muscles, but maybe you after a brisk walk or something, doing some high knees in place or whatever, finding some warmth in the body, practice some stretches. Stretch after any physical activity, and I don't mean just workouts. Okay, dedicate I mean, I stretch for like 5 to 10 minutes after I work out now. That's just the way it is now. Take the time to stretch. After gardening, I'm telling you, doing stuff around the house. Again, I've heard people tell me they're doing these house projects. People my age, I'm 46 years old, people my age, and they're like exhausted, sore. And I'm like, stretch, and they're like, I never thought about stretching after I go. And I don't either. I shovel snow. I hate to say snow, but I shovel, after shoveling, I know I should be stretching after that. That is a workout. Okay. That is such a workout. Don't tell me that's not a workout because it is. Full body workout is what that is. And then, of course, at the end of the day, and the reason I added end of the day in here is because of that stress, right? Flexibility training decreases stress. When I stretch at the end of the day, it not only relaxes and calms my nervous system, it helps me sleep better. That's a plus right there. So stretching at the end of the day, very gentle stretching, it just really does decompress you. And then, of course, if you strength train on a regular basis, 2 to 3 times a week, your muscles continue to contract from the work you did all day long. Okay, so if you did a strength training workout this morning, your muscles are still contracting. Okay, that's what causes that delayed onset muscle soreness, aka DOMS. So like 24 to 48 hours after, you're like, why does my butt hurt? Or like, why can I not wash my hair? Like things like that, where you're so sore, not to the point of debilitation where you feel debilitated, but you can still function. And then you remember, oh yeah, I did that leg workout or that lower body workout, or your abs hurt, whatever, right? That's what you're feeling because your muscles are continuing to contract because you just worked them. You put them to work. And then it might take time for them to calm down. Now, if you just started strength training, you're going to feel pretty sore. Okay. And I always recommend people take more than a day off and stretch. Maybe stretch the next day. I always say stretch the next day. Absolutely. Because if you stretch the next day, then you're lengthening all the tissue and the muscle out. So then the next day you can bounce back. Right. And everybody's different. All right. If you you'll know if you go more than I'm going to back up a minute. If you go more than 2 days feeling pretty sore, you overdid it. You probably overdid something, and then of course, pay attention to what you feel while stretching and your energy levels, right? I always make notes too. Of my energy levels. I have to say, I practiced yoga this morning. It was amazing. My energy level it went up and it was like great. It was like without caffeine, that was pretty awesome. All right. So I think, yeah, so this is the end, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are not a part of my Facebook community, Mindfully Fit for Life, that is the name of my Facebook group. You can go ahead and join that right now. And this is where you'll get more tips, support, and just hear about different upcoming events that I am doing, whether it's on Facebook or outside of Facebook. It's a very active group. We post a lot in there. So please join. It's free. It's my free group. And you also get just first dibs, but first looks at new things, right? If you would like to attend an online class, I am going to be doing a online class Tuesday, September 10th. And it's going to be a live stream class via Zoom. It will be recorded. So even if you register, you're going to get the recording. And what I'm going to be doing in that class is it's going to be stability, mobility, and balance. Don't let those words scare you. If you are a part of my Power Up Your Step program, you're automatically, you're going to be in that. But like for anybody who wants to come and try, because this is any level can do this class, really, any level can do this class. It's $20 to drop into that one. I'm going to put all of this up in an email, and I will get to my email in a moment. I also have a stretch and restore class on Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. I have a forever fluid yoga class that I teach on Friday mornings at 10:30, and that is at Rooted Pilates and Wellness, which is part of Sports and Spinal Wellness Center. That is my chiropractor's office, and that is where I teach this yoga class. And of course, my 12-week Power Up Your Step, this is a transformational program. So this is really stepping up your game. You're going to build strength, confidence, and longevity in your life. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, you can contact me. You can send me an email to get on my list. All you have to do is send me an email with list. That's it. You don't have to give me your life story. Nothing like that. Just write list and I will put you on the email list. Yeah, that's my personal Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, connect with me. If you're on Instagram, connect with me. That's my handle right there. And there's my YouTube channel. I know it's a funky link there, but if you search Liz Philippone, you should see my face come up. Yeah, and I'm going to actually upload the recording of this to my YouTube channel. So you'll be able to find it on there. Of course, I'm going to email this recording to those who wanted the recording. Yeah, so that way you didn't miss out on anything. So that is it. I am going to, yep, those are all my slides. I'm going to stop share. All right, and are there any questions? Hey, Liz.
Hi. Is your YouTube channel public?
It is public, yeah.
Okay, good.
Have you tried to look for it before or no?
No, but I was thinking that all the stuff you just went over would probably be very beneficial for my brother.
Yes. Oh, good.
Yeah,
I think it would be beneficial for a lot of people.
yeah. Just,
But yeah,
just because of what he's going through,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It's going to be public. My YouTube channel is public, and I'm going to make this webinar public
oh,
as well.
okay, good.
Because some things that I post on YouTube might be private, right? Not everybody can see it. But for the most part, most YouTube channels are public, I have to say. So, yeah.
Great.
But yes, and that goes for everybody watching the recording. Please, once I get this on my YouTube channel, I will send out an email about that. And please share, with your family, your loved ones, anybody who, could benefit from this. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
And is anything else? Anything else, or is that it? Questions or?
I'm excited about the live classes.
Yes, I know. Me too.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to offer that. So yeah, stay tuned for more on that.
Yeah, will do.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. It was good to see you, Liz.
Yep,
And
you too.
thank you, everyone, for watching. Bye.